is Myles Munroe Jr. Welcome to the new episode of the Myles High Podcast. As you know, the vision and goal for this podcast is to entertain, educate, and elevate you miles high above your fears, your doubts, and any limitations that you may think exist, always knowing that those limitations only exist in your mind. All right? Got a cool pod today. I was thinking about this subject. I've been actually pondering the subject for a couple of weeks now, and this is something that I kind of wanted to have a discussion about on today's pod. So I want to talk about purpose versus passion. All right, purpose versus passion. You know, coming up when I was a teenager, you know, growing into my young adult years, I used to hear this statement or this quote said to me and to, you know, persons in my generation quite a bit. And that quote was, "Follow your passion." Right? We would have questions about, you know, how do we discover our purpose, or how do we figure out what we want to do in life? And a lot of the advice that we would be given is follow your passion, right? But I want to start with defining these two terms first, right? I think it's a good place to kind of base this discussion off of found definition. So I want to discuss the definition of passion and the definition of purpose to start. Okay, so passion is defined as a feeling of intense enthusiasm towards or compelling desire for someone or something. Passion can range from eager interest in or admiration for an idea or cause, and passion is an enthusiastic enjoyment of an interest or activity. It's a strong attraction, excitement, or emotion towards a person. All right, that's the definition of passion. And now purpose, the definition of purpose is the reason for which something is done or created, or for which something exists, right? So passion involves or entails somewhat of an emotional experience or an emotional display towards a particular thing, an action, a person. You know, that's where people say, you know, you're showing passion, or you're exuding passion, or you're very passionate about. But purpose deals with who we are or why we are, right? It's the definition of why things exist, the reason something was created. You know, when I was younger, this whole conversation really comes up because I don't agree with the quote or the advice to follow your passion, right? I think that's a very short-minded quote. You know, I think it deals with a whole lot more than just passion. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, right? I want to start with a little story, right? So I've told you my public speaking story before, and how my dad used to push me when I was much younger, put me in the front of crowds, and, you know, kind of help me to fight my fear of public speaking, right? But public speaking wasn't something that I loved to do. As a matter of fact, if you told me that, you know, when I was a teenager, that when I grew up I would be a public speaker, I would be like, nah, there's no way, right? Because I hated public speaking so much. First of all, because I'm a super introvert. Secondly, I just didn't like talking to humans. You know, I kind of just didn't like being in an environment where I had to interact with individuals that I didn't know, right? Carrying conversations, making small talk, like those were things that brought on a bit of anxiety with me. So I never had a desire or a passion for public speaking. But I think over the years, you know, as my dad pushed me and helped me to get over my fear, first of all, of public speaking, and then I started to develop that gift, right? To develop that skill, and through years of development, I've become a lot better at it. Now I don't profess to be the best public speaker that there is, right? I'm still working on it, and it's still a work in progress for me. But I've gotten much better than I was before. And for these times, this purpose that I'm in my life, I realized that public speaking was directly connected to it, right? And it's something that, since recognizing the connection with public speaking, I've developed a passion for, right? So I didn't start off having a passion for public speaking. I had passion in other things, right? But public speaking was never on my list of things to do or to check off my list, once I became of age and got into a certain profession. So I like to say here that, I believe you can be passionate about something that you're not very skilled at, or you can be skilled at something that you're not very passionate about, right? I know a lot of us know an individual, whether they're family or friends, who are like very passionate about something, very passionate about an activity or passionate about something in their life that they don't have the highest of skill for, right? And I think we also know persons who are skilled at something. They're just good at doing this activity or performing this task, but they're not super passionate about it, right? I remember when I was much younger, I was super passionate about basketball, right? I love the game of basketball. I love to watch basketball. I love playing basketball. And, at some point, believe it or not, I had dreams of becoming a professional basketball player, which I think, a lot of us do as young men, right? We all dream to play basketball, but I had a great passion for it, right? I'm so passionate about the game. I watch it every opportunity I get on all levels. I love the game of basketball, but I realized at an early age, like, look, Char, you're 5'7", 5'9" on a good day. There's no way you're going to be a professional basketball player, especially playing at the highest level, right, in the NBA. Because I didn't have the skill sets to match my height, right? For me to be this height, I needed to, be Kyrie times 17, Kyrie Irving times 17, right? So I knew that wasn't going to work for me. But a lot of people are, they're passionate about things that they may not be the best skilled at, right? And it's on the flip side that we know a lot of persons who are skilled at something, right? They're good at public speaking, they're good at singing, they're good at sports, they're good at like these different activities, but they're not passionate about it, right? It doesn't drive them. They have no desire to go further with it. And I think a lot of that channels back to purpose, right? Because there's no purpose in it for them. Because, if you're one of those individuals, or if you know an individual who is passionate about something but isn't skilled at it, and then they don't recognize that their skill level isn't on par with what it should be, then that passion can sidetrack them from finding their purpose, right? I think those persons who are passionate about things and maybe don't have the highest skill level of it, right? Like we know individuals who are passionate about basketball. They play basketball from, junior, senior, high school, and they're able to get a full ride scholarship to a university to play ball, but they're able to get their education for free. And I think like there are times where our passion and our skill level peak, right? Or our skill level peaks, right? Regardless of what our passion is. But our skill level peaks, and in this particular example, right, their skill level peak at the college level. But it enabled them to obtain a free education, right? And I think it's up to those individuals to recognize, like, man, I was able to obtain a free education with this skill level that I had. Even though I'm passionate about this sport, realistically, will I be able to make it to the next level, right? And we see a lot of players that leave college and declare for example, the NBA draft, or players that leave college playing American football and declare for the NFL draft. Either some get traded, others don't get traded, and those who get traded, don't do exceptionally well, and those who not traded, some get drafted. And others don't get drafted. Some of those who get drafted carry on to have stellar careers, but those who don't get drafted have to go to plan B, right? They aren't able to go back to school to play, so they have to find a semi-pro league or take up some other profession. And sometimes, again, our passion can sidetrack us from developing or finding our purpose because we're so fixated on following our passion. Instead of focusing on trying to find our purpose. So, that may be some of you out there asking, I don't know what my purpose is. I'm still trying to find my purpose. How do I discover my purpose? And my advice would be to identify your gift. I think that's where it should start. I think we should start, instead of following passion, we should follow our gifts, follow the skill sets that we have, follow the talents that we possess. Identify those talents and start to develop those talents, because our gift is more tied to our purpose than our passion is. Right? There's, in order for us to discover who we really are, or better yet, why we are, it's good for us to discover what it is that we can do, right? And obviously that's one of the 5 questions. Not what am I passionate about, right? It's what am I good at? What gifts do I have? What is my potential? What are the good abilities that I possess? And chase that, right? Follow that. Develop those gifts, develop those talents and skill sets that you have. And I think once you do that, the passion will come. If you're not passionate about it, I think you'll develop that passion. Have you ever heard someone say, "Man, I'm just not passionate about that anymore"? Right? I know me as a 5-year-old to a 10-year-old to a 15-year-old to a 25-year-old to a 35-year-old. Right? There were things that I was passionate about in each of those levels of my life, and I'm no longer passionate about some of those things, because passion fades, right? Passion dies. Passion doesn't last, because passion kind of goes along with our emotions in a sense, right? There are things that we are passionate about 5 years ago, things we were passionate about last year that we aren't passionate about anymore today, because it might have been a place in time where an opportunity came up and something new made itself available to you, and you were instantly passionate about that thing. And as the time passed, that passion faded, right? But if you look at purpose, purpose isn't affected by failure. It isn't affected by criticism. It isn't affected by competition, and it isn't affected by by things not going according to plan, right? Because our purpose is who we are, or rather yet, our purpose is why we are, right? And that's why I feel that we shouldn't follow passion. We should really be following our purpose, really be chasing after our purpose. And in order for us to do that, we need to discover and develop our gifts. I think our gifts, the Bible says our gifts will make room for us on this earth, right? It'll bring us into the front of kings and great men. That's what our gift does. Our passion doesn't do that for us, right? I think once we discover our gifts and our talents and we start to develop them, that's when we find purpose, right? And we should allow passion to ignite that journey towards developing and finishing and fulfilling our purpose, right? Passion should be the fuel that keeps us going on that journey of purpose. And I think it's ignited by discovering what we can do, discovering the abilities that we have, discovering the gifts and talents that we possess as individuals. So, I think ultimately when we hear the term "follow your passion," I think we can tweak that and say, follow your gift, and it will lead to your purpose, and your passion will be ignited on that journey. So I wouldn't encourage anyone, to follow passion. I would prefer to encourage people to follow their gift, follow your skills, follow the ability that you have. And those are the things, those are the tangible things that will help you on your journey towards purpose, and your passion will be ignited in the process.
But don't you think that, like I said, life is long, and we have multiple passions? Do you think it's still good to lean into passions, even though ultimately what we're saying is they sometimes may not lead to your purpose? Because but just saying, I recently learned a skill which could be considered a gift. I learned how to sew. I was passionate about it during the pandemic. Of course, I'm not as passionate about it, but it's still a skill that I was able to convert into business, even though I'm not passionate about it. But can I say that's tied to my purpose because it is a skill or a gift?
I think so. I'm not saying don't follow passion cold turkey, right? I think passion is important, but what I'm saying is, if we're following passion in something that we're not skilled at, I think that's where the issue lies, right? But because like, persons are passionate about things that they just aren't good at. Like think about a singer who they're passionate about singing and they want to, let's say, make a career or, have a career in the music industry, but they're just not that good of a singer, right? And they think in their mind that, man, I could still make this, I can still do this thing that I'm passionate about. But they're just not that good of a singer. So I think you have to identify what are your exceptional skill sets, things that you are like uber good at, very good at, and those things that you are maybe not so good at, right? And I'm not saying that you can't find purpose by following your passion. I just think that statement, follow your passion, isn't complete. Right? It doesn't tell the full story. I think it should lean more towards saying, follow your passion in things that you are very skilled at. Follow your passion through your gifts, right? Identify your gifts and allow your gifts to ignite your passion.
Well, I guess that was my follow-up question because people do have multiple talents.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at, say, Steph Curry. He's now great at golf. And, so he could probably have a second one that
Mm-hmm.
career.
Absolutely.
For people who have so many skills, so many talents, how do you say this is the one, or which one is, I guess, intimately tied to?
I think all of them are, right, at certain levels. So Steph Curry, as the example you brought up, is a great basketball player, has achieved so much success with basketball, and has been able to start the journey or be on that journey of purpose through the game of basketball. I think his skill set, the high level of skills that he has in the game of golf, I think it shows that he could have a professional career outside of the game of basketball, and it could pivot his purpose journey, right? I think the platform that the game of basketball has been able to give him, the game of golf could introduce an entirely different demographic to Steph Curry because of how skilled he is at the game of golf, but his history with basketball, he could merge the two, right? So I think as we go through our life and we go through these phases, and one skill set dies because of various reasons, right? Steph is going to get older and he isn't going to be able to run as fast, shoot as good, be on the court as long, or even want to play anymore, right? I think he's now working or seemingly working on the transition from basketball to golf or to whatever else it is that he would like to do in his career. And that's because we are so multi-talented and multi-gifted, and we are multi-purposed as well. Like I truly believe that, and that's something that I'm going to keep repeating. We are multi-purposed, multi-talented individuals, and I feel it's up to us to figure out which talent we are supposed to be developing and working on in every season of our life. Every particular season calls for a different talent that we possess, and within those seasons, we are on the journey of a different purpose, right? Our purpose our purpose pivots into different arenas and different platforms throughout every phase of our lives. And I think as we go through these different phases, different skill sets will come up, and those skill sets that we thought we wouldn't have needed 10 years ago, they're going to come to the forefront and be like, oh, this is why I'm talented at this. This is how I could use this gift within this season of my purpose. That's it. Thank you, my wife. Thank you for that challenging conversation. I'm sure that was able to help a number of people. You should have been you should have been sitting next to me for that conversation. She's shaking her head no. But I think at the least they could. I'm trying. I gotta. My guy is saying I need to challenge her. I will. I guess I gotta bribe her again with a meal, some food. Nah, but that's kind of the conversation that I wanted to have today. Like at the end of it all, I think passion is great, but I think following our gifts, following our skills, following our talents is greater. It's much more important. All right. So we've come to a portion of the episode now where I share with you a milestone, and our milestone is very tied to what I discussed previously. Right. I want you to follow your gift. Right. Your gift will lead you to your purpose, and your passion will be ignited on that purpose journey. All right. Follow your gifts, and your gifts will lead you to your purpose, and your passion will be ignited on that purpose journey. That's the milestone for the day. It's pretty simple. I think it embodies my charge to you, my challenge to all of you out there, right? I don't want you to follow your passion. Let's better that recommendation, right? Let's follow our gifts. Let's follow our skill sets. Let's identify what it is that we're good at and allow our gifts to make room for us on this earth, for us to start to live out our purpose and our passion be ignited during that journey. All right. So this brings us to the end of the pod. As always, the goal and vision of this pod is to entertain, educate, and elevate you miles high above your fears, your doubts, and any limitations that you may think exist, always knowing that those limitations only exist in your mind. All right, until next time, you guys stay blessed.